Okay, so underneath this microscope, I have a sample of this, the Prima Materia that is still going through the Nigredo stage. It's still blackening, slowly but surely. I'm probably going to give it another 3 months before I actually decide to start applying heat to this to make a white stone from it. And then I'll cut that batch in half, and half of that batch I'll make redstone powder from, and the other batch, the other half of it, I'll keep white stone so I can study both and see what kinds of things I can make with them. But we're going to try to see if we can get a view underneath the microscope. See if I can get my camera right up to it. Maybe. I don't know if I can. There it is. Oh, we had a shot. There we go. Crap. Just need to stabilize it. Okay. 1 moment. Okay, so you can see the matter down in there. Microscopic shot of it. There we are. There we are. Okay, so yeah, this is what the powder actually looks like. What I've done is I've kind of like squashed it on the tray there, a little plastic film, kind of like spread it out really well so it's nice and thin. And it's got a goldy color to it. It's got a goldy amber color to it. And that's to be expected while it's going through the blackening stage or the Nigredo stage. I would say that I'm basically just going to let this continue fermenting for a good while, and I should be able to produce about 3.5 grams, 4 grams maybe of powder, both white stone and red stone. I'll use the white stone to see if I can make silver, and I'll see if I can use it to make glass into precious gems or indistinguishable from precious gems. Because I know I can take the red stone, once I mature it to the red stage, I know I can cast that powder into molten glass and it will actually turn the glass into something that looks indistinguishable from a ruby. But yeah, doesn't look like much. It's just like the alchemists used to say, is like the most vile of substances. I mean, it's coagulated minerals that have congealed through the putrefaction of urine. And urine, it may be a pretty gross ingredient to start with. It actually contains all the proper elements, the biological, the organic elements and compounds that are necessary for creating the philosopher's stone. And if a lot of energy is concentrated into the molecules of this substance, it has wondrous effects. But because it came out of a living organism is the reason why it contains this biological type energy that has effects on the atomic structures of other elements, especially molten metals. And the reason being is because like there's something different about biochemistry and organic chemistries that has an effect of transmutation. They call it biological transmutation. You can research this. You can research how crabs and clams will grow their shells even if they're deprived of calcium diets. Even if they're deprived of their calcium diets, they take in zero calcium, their bodies still transmute potassium into calcium somehow. And so we know there's some kind of biochemical effect that's going on that's causing potassium to turn to calcium. It also happens in studies with chickens. In Japan, they were raising roosters and hens that were fed they were fed a strict non-calcium diet, and yet their bones grew anyway, as if they were getting calcium from somewhere else. When they analyzed their bone structure and took a look at the calcium, they realized it was radioactive. Essentially, it was potassium that had lost a proton and a neutron. It was potassium that went one down on the periodic table of elements. So there's actually evidence of like chemical substances, chemical compounds, being able to cause one element to transmute to another. So they've been lying to us in chemistry class when they tell you that the philosopher's stone couldn't exist and that there's no such thing as a chemical compound that could turn one element into another. They're full of shit, because they've already found evidence of this in nature multiple times over, and the only explanation is that the organism is somehow life is finding a way. It's transmuting the elements that the body of the creature needs because of the lack of calcium. So if organic chemical compounds in the body of a chicken can turn potassium into calcium, well then the biochemical compounds that are extracted from urine, there shouldn't be any reason why there isn't a way to use it to turn one metal into another, or one element into another. Of course it's plausible, it's feasible. They just don't want you to know you can do this, because if everybody knew how, and everybody started making gold, that would be an issue to them. There goes the whole basis of their currency, supposedly. Well, anyways, y'all, I'll check in with y'all later with some other discoveries. Let's get one last look at this before we go, though. Let's see if we can get another good shot of that. As always, with my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. I could use the followers. I actually need to try and start up an alchemy school or a business or something like that. Let's see. I can't even get this aligned right. If anybody has any questions about the Philosopher's Stone, alchemy, and the history of alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone, hit me up and I'll tell you what I know, and I'll tell you what I don't know. I'm still learning every day. So